Irwin and Al.
Hey.
From Hoosiers. Is it Hoosiers or the Hoosiers? I never know.
Oh, it's been different. It does. I don't think it really matters.
It's the Hoosiers.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it doesn't.
Well,
I mean, we
fussy.
answer to anything.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah, but the Oasis. Oasis were not the Oasis, were they? Well, okay, I'm glad we've caught up. Oh, we're done.
Yeah.
So it's lovely to meet you because you are and always have been purveyors of incredibly positive music, which I'm very thankful for being in the ecosystem.
Thank you.
And I just want to really catch up is wrong because we've never met. So I want to meet you and find out about you. I haven't got a list of questions. I just want to have a conversation with you and just track right back, to the beginning. Where did you meet? How do you know each other? How did you form a band?
Well, we have been in each other's first ever band, and we still are.
Yeah.
And I remember it was November. It was an especially blustery month back in 1995, and we met and butchered.
You're going to go
What?
at this depth.
Oh, true. Yeah. I'll speed it up.
Get to promote the album.
That was a good point. And now our fifth
fine,
album's coming out in 3 weeks. Okay, that's true. But we
No, I like it though.
well, we
It's a
first
lovely
butchered
time.
Eleanor Rigby and what else? Live Forever.
Live Forever, yeah.
And we haven't stopped there. We've been butchering songs ever since.
And what's the backdrop to this? Were you school friends? Were you friends? Were you what was the deal? How do you know each other?
So we were pretty much schoolmates, but I was friends with Irwin's best mate. Who he knew
Mike
from
Technique.
church.
Yeah.
Church friends.
Yeah.
They started the band, and then they needed a drummer, and I was at a local school nearby.
We had a no heathen policy at the time. But,
so they had to convert me first. I really wanted the gig, so I did.
It turns out his giant back is perfect for backsliding upon.
So did you have to get baptised
Exactly
in order
that.
to be a Hoosier?
No, I got unbaptised. We went the other way. We went somewhere in the middle, didn't we?
Yeah, but obviously we didn't. But yeah, so we went through a bit of a journey with religion, and I suppose we played a gig at Stoneleigh, didn't we?
Oh, this is your start. I mean,
Yeah,
this is much worse than my start. You're just jumping into.
But it's got really deep for me all of a sudden.
I know.
with the religion.
It was.
All I did was ask you how it started.
How
No,
are
it's
you guys?
dangerous. We need more specific questions.
Okay. Well, so how long did it take of you doing that thing? And I have been there a gajillion times, slogging, crafting your songwriting and then waiting for that break. How long did that take?
Crazy thing is, only 11 years.
Yeah.
Well, Pulp was 13. God, 11
Was it?
years.
11, yeah.
Pulp was 13 years together before Common People was a hit.
Beat us at everything, don't they?
But
Ping pong.
it's only when, with the hindsight of having done it, you sort of appreciate and understand why it should be almost that long. It takes a long time to cultivate and learn to write. I mean, you see some people, like Arctic Monkeys, I think were the best example I've seen of somebody who was just brilliant. They just wrote such good songs straight away. But for us, it was like our songs when we were 19, 18, 19. Can we swear on this?
No.
Probably not. They weren't good. It deserves an expletive.
Ungood.
Right.
Ungood.
Ungood. That's
Really
it.
ungood. Especially yours.
Yeah. So it just takes a long time. It took us a long time to write, good songs.
And not to pace this back to fast forward, where you kind of are in this world, and I wonder how many great artists that needed that developing, who getting lucky with that whatever Ed Sheeran cover they do on a TikTok, suddenly they get the record deal, but they're not quite ready for it, and they don't get the nurturing they need. So it takes. I mean, look, all those famous examples of that third album, where you kind of actually have an understanding of who you want to be, what you're doing, and we had 11 years to kind of stumble through and develop, I guess.
When did your sound crystallize? Because you have a very Hoosiers sound. It is a joyful racket that you make, and it reminds me equal parts of, I don't know, without being derivative, of ELO, almost to somebody really 80s, like an alternative pop, like It Bites or something like that. Like, it's clever songwriting. How long did it take for you to kind of crystallize this sound that you've got? Because it really is it's you. You can tell a Hoosiers record within 4 bars.
Oh, that's great to hear. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was some just inherently in who we are and the way we talk and the way we wrote together, and the laughs we had. We were meant to write that sort of music, but I think we sort of it's a difficult one to get to because you sort of try and avoid it because we wanted to be Radiohead, as crazy as it sounds. You want to write the cool stuff and the darker stuff, but I think it's like a journey to go to accept who you are and what you're meant to do. And I think our music was meant to make people smile, and that's when we write our best stuff, I think. But it took us a long time to come to terms with it, and it took us meeting the right people to help to uncover that and to go, right, that's what you're good at, because it's hard to see it from our perspective. So
Sometimes, you've got to lean into it, and sometimes you're too close to it. You've got your nose next to this multicolored painting. Who did it take? Was it management or a friend to get you to lean into it?
There was actually, I remember one specific email on this topic because he was a manager who didn't manage us in the end, but he gave us some direction. And again, I love this because rather than just someone telling you you're good, you can't do anything with that. But this manager said, your emails make me smile. Every time. There isn't one I read and it's like, it's jovial or whatever, and it's like, you've got this particular sense of humour that comes through in that, and when I meet you, but the songs aren't doing it. And it's like, where's that? Why don't I see? Why are your songs absent of that personality trait? And it's this fear, because part of it as well, and when we were a lot younger, you're a bit more inclined to try and be cool, or, we're looking at the other bands, that XTC or Talking Heads or whatever, and we're like, it's very much easier to try and tread paths that have already been trod. But trust me, they're not the one for you. You've got to, it does take a bit of, I don't know, it's scary doing it. But I think we needed enough nudges, and we had it in the form as well of Jamiroquai, main songwriter and keyboardist Toby Smith, who really developed us and kind of gave us, again, it was all that development, that nurturing that I think it's hard to come by now in the industry.
Yeah, and is it not having fanboy geek delved too hard into your music? Like, I'm going to just ask you this from an objective thing. Have you ever done that thing where you couch darkness in the lyrics within a very poppy, beautiful melody in the way that like Steely Dan used to?
Right. I mean, I think Trojan horsing it
Yes.
is sort of is it Tom Waits who said that I want beautiful songs telling me something dark and mysterious, something like that.
The 1975 Matty Healy's amazing at that.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you ever do that, or are you tempted to do that?
Absolutely. I mean, that's the first single, "Worried About Ray," was exactly that. It's about anxiety and fear for the future, like and our own struggles with what we're meant to be and what we're meant to do and where we're going. But yeah, it's an upbeat tune, like nice big lyric, big song, big melodies. But yeah, absolutely. We would always hold ourselves accountable for that sort of thing. I think that was probably the thing where probably like butt heads most, because we were like, no, that lyric has to mean something. You've got what you say in there. I remember Irwin saying that loads to me, and I go, it doesn't mean anything yet. It just came to me when I was on the piano, and then he's like, no, but we need to do this properly. You need to justify it, and it has to have a point. So,
tell me more. Like, encapsulate in a nutshell, "Worried About Ray." That was your debut single.
It was, yeah.
And that was pretty much a hit, wasn't it?
Yeah, number 4 in the charts.
I thought it was number 5.
Was it?
Your first single went into the top 10.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
We can agree on that.
Yes.
But yeah, and that I've got to say. So the whole point of that was the main line that we leave with on the end is "the future's out to get you," and we had that idea of if you love anything over a long enough time span, you will lose it, or it will lose you, and it's that vulnerability you get from allowing yourself to love, and for us, it was that anxiety that has come to define, I think, even a lot of our relationship. Not anxiety, but the willingness to kind of try and talk and about our problems and what we struggle with, and we didn't want that to end with the music, because that would be disingenuous.
And what was then did you follow that up with, was it Goodbye Mr. A after that? So gosh, and that must have probably gone in.
It did better.
Higher.
It did even better. Yeah, I mean, it was like the whole time was just crazy. I know it was 11 years leading up to that point, but then it was sort of an overnight thing. And it was back in the day where you were staring at iTunes, and it was. My dad would phone me every minute. He was going, "Oh, it's gone up a spot," and I'd be like, "It was a buck." So, yeah.
Tell me about Goodbye Mr. Ray, about how that song crystallized. How did you write it?
Oh, it was probably written a similar time to Worried About Ray, and it was under the pressure of Toby Smith saying you need to write better songs. And we had this concept, the piano and the melody, and it actually was in an entirely different sort of tempo and mood in the first instance. It was much darker, which was the point of the song, really. But Toby took it and said, look, there's some magic in there. Look, why don't we, for want of a better word, and to be honest, to ELO it a bit. and it is effectively what we did to it, and you can't hide that. And we just picked it up, and it just became huge. But the concept and the melodies and the lyrics are about somebody losing the magic of life by analysing it to its nth degree, and there should be some what's the word? Some mystery, I think.
Yes.
So there's that goodbye Mr. A, goodbye Mr. E sort of concept.
Yes.
And we've encapsulated it as this person, this scientist who knows everything, and he has a lot of misery as a result.
And just so we don't get sued, I'm going to need to stress that it was an homage to the production rather than the song was already written, and we've actually we'll show you the demo, which was in a minor key. And
Yeah.
So Toby's called it a funeral march.
It's too late, and it's 15 years gone, so they can't get us now.
Can they not?
No.
Okay, we totally ripped it off then.
Squat and rice.
I'm so happy that you've confessed to Jeff Lynning.
Yeah.
Because I get, it's the first thing that I get, as a Jeff Lynne fan, and it's.
Have you ever linned?
But it's not. I've
Forgive
not
me,
linned.
Father.
No,
I have linned.
My music is so dark. It's ridiculously dark.
Right.
So, then your lives. Tell me what effect this pretty huge success had on your lives at that point. I'm guessing that you would have, because you've had 11 years. There's some wisdom. There's some there's some foundation to you personally and professionally that would hopefully make you deal with that in a better way than maybe a 19-year-old.
Well, I think by virtue of hanging on for 11 years, there's some sense of we'd taken enough knockbacks, had enough rejections to maybe develop a slightly tougher hide than I would naturally, despite the fact I'm a huge softie anyway, but I can still struggle with that. And that's the trouble with social media, seeing a 14-year-old from Delaware say I've got bad hair or something. That's it. Ruined for a week,
Dude, I love your hair.
Thanks. And I was fishing, so I really appreciate that. It felt like with that kind of success that we enjoyed for a couple of years, but it felt like your life isn't your own in that sense. The momentum that you've been building towards, and that just sort of takes over. And thankfully, it does help being in a band with one of your best friends, and we were, and whoever
we fired
we
him.
it wasn't going to last.
But he said one of your best friends. Were you crushed out? Were you thinking, I was his best friend?
True, I hadn't thought of it like that.
I was making it easy for you.
And on that bombshell.
Oh no! But you make a good point, and we talked about this as well. Being 26, 27 when the success came, it was we did often think, God, if we were 19. I don't honestly. Who knows what would have happened? Would have been very difficult to understand.
Yeah,
and it would have had a huge impact on definitely me. I don't think I was fully grown at 19, 20. Not even at 27.
Not. You're a child until you're 30, pretty much.
Yeah.
Until there was something about it where, to try and define it though, the moment was I remember you go into a place, no one looks at you. You go in the next time, having been on a few TV shows, people treat you differently. And to be honest, it was seductive on some level, but you also at the same time knew that it was a lie, that you were that same person who couldn't get arrested earlier, and now, there you are, sat with the, finest view in the whole Pizza Express. Life was good. What can we say?
Well, let's bring it up to speed now. You have a new album, and I've been really enjoying all of your social media little bits of promotion for that. Quit the band or drop the album. That one I particularly loved. So let's just go into this new record. I wanted to talk about a few tracks. I listened to the because obviously it's not out yet, and I had a listen, and the tracks that
what a privilege you have.
Huh?
What a privilege you have.
Yeah, I get paid for this. Well, actually, not this, but I get paid for doing my show. This is free. This is completely for love. And the tracks that I've cherry picked off there, the ones that I really love, I found out afterwards are mostly singles. So we've obviously got similar ears for picking a single. But I wanted to go through these tracks that I really love, and I hope that we can play in some way, support in some way, in a meaningful way here. So tell me about Hello Sunshine. Oh, by the way, love the intro too to the record.
Oh, thanks.
Good.
So tell me about Hello Sunshine, which is straight after.
Yeah, I guess Hello Sunshine probably was a reflection on. We had a meeting which kicked off doing this album because we hadn't done anything for 8 years. We had a chat with Craig Logan. We were planning to do stuff, and he was like kind enough to pick up the phone and talk to us again. He was the guy who launched us at Sony. RCA, and he said to us, look, why don't you reflect on what it was in the first album? And it was like, we were wise enough to listen, and I think probably Hello Sunshine is the most typical of that first album, the sort of stabby pianos and the breaks and the big concepts. But yeah, and it's a song I've been wanting to write for a long time, about the sort of two types of people you meet in life, the sort of positive, upbeat, whatever happens, they can see the good side of it, people, versus those who will find the negatives in everything.
Radiators and drains.
Exactly that. And actually, the more I go through that, the more you see it, and you pick it out early, and you're like, you're a radiator. I can feel it straight away.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And you can pick out, and it's actually my cousin who I work with, like, on some musical project, and he was so draining. and I sort of wrote that for him in lots of ways. And I'm not dismissing his outlook on life versus my more positive outlook on life, but I think I'm more right.
We've got to let Mancunians be Mancunians.
Yeah, there's a place for everyone.
There's almost I felt like you mentioned the word homage, like Hello Sunshine, Mr. Blue Sky. It's almost you're wearing something on your sleeve here.
Well, I mean, and there's that as well. And the tip of the hat, or whatever it is, to ELO is like, it's a genuinely, I love that band and I love what they did. And yes, I think there's no shame in having heroes that you like, that you try and emulate.
No shame whatsoever.
And I think, just to defend ourselves, I think it's more obvious with them because they're so unique.
Yeah.
So if you copy something unique, it's more obvious that it's, not copy's the wrong word, isn't it? But if you emulate something that's more unique, it's more obvious to see it. Whereas bands like Oasis have been doing it with the Beatles, and it's happened.
Absolutely,
it does happen.
Yeah, and like I said at the beginning of this, you have your own style. You've absolutely folded a bit of Jeff Lynne into the lovely mixture. But it's
you know what? And I think what the watchword for us on this album is confidence. And I think it's coming back in the day when people suddenly slammed those in our face. Oh, ELO. It was like, it was hard to take. I found it really hard. And now you come back and you're like, God, a bit older, a bit wiser, a bit more understanding of what we've done. We can wear these badges with confidence rather than shame.
I see what you've done there.
Thanks.
Let's just backtrack to something that you said at the beginning of that, which was that you haven't done anything for 8 years. Why?
We had 2 records out on Sony, and then we self-released 2 records, and that's a lot of work. It kind of, because you have to be across all aspects of it in terms of the release. And I think there was a point where we had the ability to, suddenly the shackles were off in that sense, we could be more prolific. But just in terms of getting the record out to even your own existing fan base was troublesome, in so much that even my mother doesn't know we've got albums 3 and 4 out. So, basically, if she finds out I've got a 5th album, when she sees it, I'll be stoked.
She's going to freak.
Great, yeah. Totally worth it. I kind of think, even there was a natural point where I wonder if you've had this as well, where you just, sometimes you love what you're doing, and it's gratitude aside, because I'm sure you're very fortunate to do what you do, as do we. But there are times when it can be a job and it can be a grind. And that sort of took, I think, after losing a lot of money through releasing albums and touring and promotion, as well, and not necessarily finding it in music that you don't necessarily get out back what you put in. I think with it sort of the love ran a bit cold, and even between us, we honestly, I wouldn't say could be assured that we'd make another album, and it kind of felt like maybe. Yeah, I don't know. We were trying other things. We were writing for other artists. We wrote a comedy musical, took it to Edinburgh. We were spreading our skinny wings. And
both have families as well.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
that sort of takes its toll and time. But yeah, I wouldn't say we ever got. We're busy humans. Both of us were like part of why we've done what we've done. It's just because we're driven and we're trying to do stuff. But exploring other avenues, which and everything you sort of. That has real value in doing takes up a lot of energy and time.
Yeah.
So.
And why make another album? It was
Yeah.
a point,
Just for the sake of it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Like,
Yeah.
and I love this from when we'd written with Egg White, who's written for Adele, Will Young, all these people. But his point when you start, and we found this from certain artist sessions that we did with him in a very troublesome phase for the second album, and something we learned from some of these great writers was. He would kick off by going, why write a song? There's enough of them out there. Why bother? What have you got to say? And I love that ethic. And it sort of came through lockdown where, this is our lockdown, baby. And,
Right.
it was a case of falling in love all over again. Usually on an album, we can take like 3 years to make it. This took 3 months. And I don't think I've ever had as much fun making anything. I'd like to apologise to my 2 daughters.
And your wife?
I'll start with the daughters. My wife won't believe me.
Well, that's nice. Both that you took the time off to be positive and to pursue other things, and also that you're one of the people that was positively affected by the whole COVID thing. Because some people just their lyric page was completely empty. Florence Welch and others were. Absolutely kind of like barren creatively, whereas you and Paul Weller were absolutely rocking.
It's always been that way. That's some Paul. Peas in a pod.
The Weller doesn't run dry.
Yeah. Oh, Paul, I hope
sorry.
you saw that.
Sorry.
The Welsh doesn't run.
You can see why though. Lockdown, you can see both sides of it. One, you need to be living and experiencing stuff. So lockdown was closes. It made that difficult. But also that emotionally, there's a lot to deal with a lockdown, and the music industry was hammered.
Oh,
was
God.
hammered, and
Don't
it was
even get me started.
Yeah, no, I'll snooze that. But, so it was tough for that reason, and I thought it can. Well, going back to Sunshine, you either take the positives and are invigorated by it, I guess, or you can go the other way. And I think we were missing gigging and missing these opportunities to make music. Just made us want to do it more, I think, and made us appreciate it.
Great. In that 9-year hiatus, did you occasionally, go out and do gigs and
we didn't
bash
stop
out the classics and all that?
Yeah, we didn't stop gigging.
Right.
So it was always the
Okay.
15, 20 gigs a year, festivals
Okay.
and stuff. So we've never stopped that. And I think we did a greatest hits, and we did. But actually, we're talking about the hiatus from new material, which takes a lot of energy to you were saying, to deliver and to promote.
And you've got a bunch of, I guess, session musician mates that you get together with and, and enjoy.
We have a regular band of very good friends, and it's just sort of everything about this now. It's kind of we've re-galvanized, we've got a new team, and everything from the songwriting onwards, it's sort of been the snowball effect, and we've never had more fun doing this, to be honest. And I mean, there's a term for it. It's probably a midlife crisis, but whatever. I'm gonna own it, and we're honestly loving it to bits. We're halfway through writing the 6th album, so striking while the iron is lukewarm.
Fantastic. You mentioned it, so I'm going to go there. You do have kind of midlife crisis hair, but it's awesome. It's absolutely awesome. I'm jealous of it. So let's plow on to Idaho, which. Gosh, I really love these 2 songs. I maybe currently, and the moods change with songs every week. I currently think like Idaho even more, and I bloody love Hello Sunshine. Tell me about Idaho.
Idaho was a line floating around 10 years ago or something that was just that chorus line, Somewhere Like Idaho, and it was writing it was kind of interesting because it was a case of having to work our way backwards. It was like we'd found the body and then we had to scrub for DNA.
Reverse engineering.
Thank you. Yeah, very forensic song. Yeah, that works. But yeah, so it was that idea of why would anyone go to Idaho? And that idea of, well, you know, it's not exactly the funnest destination you could probably think of, but it was that idea of, well, if you just shot someone and working it out like a murder ballad that isn't a ballad, and you know, taking some of the joy out of those films I love, like Badlands and Natural Born Killers and
Fargo.
That sort of right, where, well, that's why you go to Idaho.
You know, we lived in Indiana for a year, which is the Hoosier state, which is where we got our name from. If you go back a little bit further, after we started the band, we went to Indiana. But Indiana doesn't scan as well, did it?
It really doesn't, no.
In terms of the lyric for the song. But
and we didn't actually kill anyone, so we didn't want people to think that was a cover up.
that too. But so we did experience that.
Did they?
Got to wait till the 6th album to find out.
Sorry.
No, that's good. No, yeah, and so we did experience that sort of Midwest America lifestyle, and it was lovely, but it was void of how do we put this?
Excitement.
The excitement, yeah.
Culture.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that. Say it. Have people from all the Hoosier fans from Indiana. The three of them will be going mad.
I don't think I've got many Iowan and Indianan fans that'll be looking at this. So moving on to Snowflake. Tell me about Snowflake, and is this an actual snowflake or the modern pejorative term snowflake?
Yeah, the latter, really. This particular one was ongoing conversations we have with just not wanting to lecture or hector, but also to let our worldview, how we feel about life and what happens, and how crazy situations that we are seeing escalate all around us. We didn't want the music to not take that on board somehow, to not be influenced by it, and it was some way again of still storytelling. So this idea of an alien, someone of pure love, landing in this country, how would they expect to be treated? And that kind of formed the basis for that song.
Oh, good on you. Have you got something to add to that?
No, it's just as you were saying, it's something we've fought against, the sort of politicising our music, and it just isn't anything we've really done. It's more been about, you know, the self-politics of like mindfulness and the world we live in. But I think as you get a bit older, you sort of have a bit more confidence in yourself as you're with our political views. And I think that's something we're just dealing with as we go, because we're not a political band, but we
There's
might
a Hoosiers
become
politics song.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's not Paul Weller. It's not early Paul Weller, but you know,
exactly.
Let's put things in
not,
context.
Yeah, exactly.
And also, I love the fact that Irwin just used the word hector for the first time.
like
The
that.
verb hector in an interview, and in 30 years of radio, I don't think anyone's ever used that word.
To hect.
Yeah, to hector. And
He uses it in every interview.
Do you drop that?
doesn't know what it is.
Is that I'm going to come across really super cool and intellectual? I love it. I really appreciated it. It stayed with me, and I'm going to start. I'm going to use it more.
Yeah.
Have it.
I'm going to bite your style. Thank
Hector
you.
away.
Thank you. Confidence is easy. It sounds like this is because confidence, you said, is a recurring theme, and the title of the album.
Yes.
So this is quite a pivotal track.
Yeah. In terms of what it's saying as well, it's perhaps the most fun, would you say, lyrically, because it's interesting to play other characters within that. And so what we're really enjoying at the moment live is telling the audience, kind of dressing them down in a very playful way and trying to avoid all the scowling faces because it turns out not everyone likes being called ugly. As the lyrics say, confidence is easy when you look like this, while all you ugly people struggle to exist. And just differentiating again that the way that we perceive beauty, and there's the entitlement that brings with it, and it's unavoidable. Thanks, social media, if you're watching. This one's for you.
Great. Anything to add, Al, to that?
No, nailed it.
He nailed it. All right, well done. So, let's land this plane with what would the word be? Like the one that crept in through the back door, which I absolutely love on this record, is So High, which sees you very stripped back and acoustic, completely in a different place. And I always say to artist friends or people I'm managing or advising, like, step out of your comfort zone. You know, it's a really good thing to do that. And this stripped back song feels like you've done that.
Yeah, thanks. And it's intentioned. But actually the original song is a more produced version that I think Irwin wrote in a co-writing environment, and we've taken that because we're going to use that at some point, I think. Right. And just reversed it and slowed it down and played it in a different form, it really works. I think, and it's I always think a good song can be played in any format, acoustically, full band, and it will still carry.
Absolutely. Well, it's like poaching an egg. You got nowhere to hide with poaching an egg. Yeah. And if a song's good,
True.
you know, that if you're doing a song just with you and an acoustic guitar, it's got to be good. Otherwise it's going to sound awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, just put it in an omelette.
Exactly.
We've done plenty of those. We've got plenty of scrambled songs.
Yeah, I really love it. And it's a nice way. It didn't end the album, but it was kind of like the tail end of it.
That would have felt a little too obvious. We were toying with that, and, you know, it's to have your swan song, there's the acoustic one at the end, and then it was like, no, this album's called Confidence. We've got to go out on a bang. But
exactly.
It was also, we had to Hoosierify that lyrical concept, because again, it's singing as a character who's just got the most toxic kind of lines to someone that they are making their moves on. And it was that idea of, this person is not okay. This person should not be trusted. And to sing, it's interesting walking in other people's shoes. And songs allow you to do that. And even though we're saying something we believe, which is, this sounds very seductive. There's like a little, even the melody, it's quite a sensual song. Yes, I said sensual. But it's also really, this person shouldn't be trusted just because they have the accoutrement of being, desired because of that. And so they also happen to be a skydiving instructor, which is why it's called So High. I have to get that in as well.
So, well, gosh, you used the word Hoosify there, which is, well, I'm sure that's not the first time you've dropped that. Well, I think, that's a good way to part this. You've just been Hoosified. We've been Hoosified. And I love that. Gentlemen, more power to your elbows. I hope that your album does phenomenally well like your first one did.
Thank you.
And I hope to see you smiling on a stage and at all the festivals next year. When is the record out?
Excellent question. It's the 15th of September, 2023.
Okay, great. And how are you feeling about it?
Honestly, I genuinely, and we can't say it any other way because it's called Confidence. We have to be confident in it, and I am confident in it. It's the best stuff we've done, I think. It's just, I think it's the most, when you start writing a song, you have this imagination of what it's going to sound like at the end. And that journey then often doesn't end where you want it to end because you've got this idea, it's going to be unbelievable. This is the closest we've got to starting with a concept and turn it into what we want it to be.
How lovely to feel that the last thing that you've done is the best thing that you've done.
Yeah, truly.
It's really good. I was surprised how good it was.
Me too, genuinely.
Well, because, everyone's been here with a band that used to be a thing and now they're not a thing and now they're doing a new album and oh God, it's going to be crap. Yeah. It wasn't. It was really good.
Thank you. But that's exactly that. And that's what I kind of mean by this. This shouldn't be this much fun and it shouldn't have been as easy and enjoyable a process. But yeah, thanks.
Fabulous. Well, add them to the list of Travis and Doves. And, those guys who did the same thing, they were absolutely transcendent. And then it takes ages and you think, oh, God, new material. Oh, it's going to shatter all my dreams. And it was brilliant.
Good.
Absolutely brilliant.
Good.
Boys, lovely to meet you.
You too.